gonna be crazy.
Oh my gosh, he's here.
Just don't everybody talk at once, okay? I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't think I need a microphone.
No, wait, you're loud and clear.
I think it'll be okay. If you could grab a water, that would be awesome. Hi, guys. Isn't it nice to be the first one, right, when the doors open? I feel like this is going to be like, what was that Much Music, like intimate and interactive, or...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you guys have enough questions to occupy this time? How long is it?
Take you long to find the building?
It did, actually. I was really confused. I was like, oh, crap. I thought it was like up by the bowling alley, is what I originally thought. And then all of a sudden I was going down a hill. I was like, oh, frig, I think I've gone the wrong way. And I was on speakerphone with someone who was like, I don't know where I'm going either. And, you know, I was like, I don't know. Oktoberfest is happening.
The breakfast.
That's what it was. The breakfast. I just want a parking spot. That was more my concern. But yeah, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah? Can I have your baby?
Yeah, do you want to see her?
Yeah, I do. Mine are just so big. Oh, no, I didn't. Is she gonna like me? Oh. Yeah, okay, it's supposed to be $20, but it's a baby. Oh, I miss little babies. Hi. Okay, I'll give you that. Does anyone have questions? Isn't that what this, I don't know. What do we do here?
What do you want to talk about?
It's not about me, it's about you guys. You guys came here to see me, so what do you want to know about?
What have you been doing since listening?
Since the listener, holy moly. Well, the listener, that was like I call that my breathing period. That's when I had my 2 children. Since then, I've done quite a lot of things that it feels weird listing off. But no, I've been very busy. I've been doing like a lot of independent films, a lot of stuff in Toronto, like Canadian shows in Toronto. I've also been writing some of my own stuff and trying to create, which is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. And I'm also just being a mom, which is really hard. I mean, you're going to be good.
I got 2.
Yeah, it's awesome. It does not get easier. Everyone keeps saying it gets easier. It does not. But it's great.
Were you pregnant during the Corner Gas movie?
I was. So actually, when I got the phone call, I did not know there was going to be a movie. I mean, there was always talks of there going to be a movie. And when I got the phone call, I actually wasn't even 12 weeks pregnant yet. So I was like, I need to have a really uncomfortable conversation with you, Brent. Because he was like, so we're going to make a movie. It's going to be this summer, probably June. And I'm like, he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, 1 second, I'm discounting. I'm like trying to figure out how pregnant I was going to be. And I was like, okay, the baby's due in September. I was like, oh shoot, I'm going to be pretty pregnant. So I sort of had to tell him, I was like, so I'm pregnant. And I will be like 7 months pregnant in June. I will have to be, like my last day to fly will be probably this date. And he was like, huh, that's so great. I'm really happy for you. We are gonna probably have to make some adjustments to the script. I think they had parts of the script where I was like riding a horse. So I think a lot of that horse riding stuff, like I was supposed to be riding the horse, and so they actually had to, I don't want to say rewrite, but make some big adjustments to what Karen was doing in the movie because I was pregnant. And of course the men were like, I mean, she can sit on a horse while she's pregnant, right? And myself and the female producer were like, no, she cannot sit on a horse while she's pregnant. Like, no, absolutely not. So.
By the time the filming happened, like, were you showing enough, or did they have to extra pad
Oh,
you? Or?
no, that was all me. And actually, they had to especially make a uniform. So my wardrobe, even though I had one wardrobe, was actually the most complicated wardrobe to make because, like, the last couple months of your pregnancy is when you grow the most. And it was my second child, too, so I was like already out. So they had to find a way to make a wardrobe that they could slowly expand and make bigger as I became more pregnant. So there is a picture somewhere on social media where I was like at the end, and it's just like a selfie in my trailer in the mirror, and I'm like, they've let out the top as far as it can go. And it's just like, yeah. So it's weird. It was an interesting. I mean, it was kind of cool. Yeah. It's long days, but luckily there is like a large enough ensemble that, and also the storyline for my character was changed dramatically, so I wasn't necessarily in as much, which was probably really nice too. So I just always had a chair to sit on. I always had a pair of Birkenstocks. So as soon as we were done the master and no one saw my feet anymore, I took my boots off and I was in Birkenstocks. But it was definitely like not easy working pregnant. There was like, there's lots of little things that happen, but it's kind of a cool thing to know, like anytime I see that movie, that it's just sort of weird to know that that's my son. Like it's kind of, there's something really special about that, having that memory and just having that, I think for him too, when he grows up, to watch that and just be like, that's me in there. Like, it's really special. It's something that I don't take for granted.
So did they have to wrap you for your last day to fly out?
All was good. It was good timing, and I'm really known for having early babies, so it was just made it.
I was going to ask, how was the production different than just a TV show than a movie? Was it still kind of just the same, or do you feel like you guys were doing
What's really weird is you do have to make adjustments when you're shooting a movie. Like in TV, you're going to do like a lot more close-ups like this, but when you're watching a movie, if you see a close-up like this, you're like, holy moly, that is a really big head. So there are like differences in that. You have to make it more cinematic, I would say. But the vibe and the energy, I think, I personally, other people may have other feelings, but I feel like they did a great job creating a storyline that was true to the show, and I feel it did the show justice, but it also turned it into a movie, because it's you're taking a half an hour or 22-minute show and making it, I think it was only an hour and a half or something like that. So you do have to sort of tweak the beginning, middle, and end. It's a lot more complicated, but I personally think they did a really good job, and I think the fans would have been really disappointed had it not been true to the show. I think had it portrayed the show in any way, our fans definitely would have been like, excuse me. So I think people were happy.
So were they planning, considering a movie while the show was still in production, or was that after the fact they decided to kind of get the group back together?
It was always sort of discussed, like right from when we wrapped. I think everybody just needed sort of time away. And it was actually really great, because I think when you're in the middle of something, you can't really see it or appreciate it because you're in the middle of it. And I think Corner Gas, the success was like so quick and like right from the beginning that we were kind of in this bubble and didn't really understand and couldn't truly appreciate how special maybe that was. So to end the show and walk away and have, I think it was maybe like five years perhaps, yeah. It was quite like 5 years in between when we wrapped and when we shot the movie. It was really nice because we had an opportunity to kind of revisit that and have some time away. And so it was like a second chance at really appreciating something that maybe you took for granted the first time around. And I'm really grateful for that, because there was always like this sadness after the show wrapped that I couldn't appreciate in the moment how great it was. And it was only until it was over that I was like, oh man, that was awesome. I took for granted how lucky I was and how special that was. So that to come back and do the movie, we all really got to be together and say, wow, how special, what a special group that we are, and these relationships and these bonds and these friendships that we have are so special and unique, and we'll never take that for granted. Sorry, that was like a really long answer to a very simple question. I tend to just talk.
It's okay, we're here to listen.
Yeah.
So when did you, as a cast, and you personally come to realize that the show was really resonating with people and they were it was becoming a phenomenon. I
Well,
guess.
we knew that people were watching it. I mean, we got a phone call from like the CEO of CTV like the day after it aired for the first time, and they realized what the numbers were, and that's not a normal thing.
Right.
But I think when something happens so quickly and almost, I don't want to say easily, but so there isn't, like, even though I've worked as an actor for so many years and worked so hard and like this is what you always wanted, because it just sort of came, there was something of like, oh yeah, well that's just there, you know, and you, and it's also a weird show in that I think in Canada especially, people just kind of leave actors alone, like you're not like hounded on the street, or for the most part, like people just kind of look at me and they're like, so you're not really bombarded. So I really didn't see how, we knew that people liked it, but my life didn't change in any way. Sort of thing. Yeah.
I was just going to ask, like, how was it different from when the show ended, and how did it feel like going back and set another movie?
Well, it was kind of just like that beautiful second chance of
I was going to say it's like riding a bike, but I don't know.
oh my gosh, like that character here, I mean Karen, I mean she is just, I mean what makes the show so funny is that every character is pretty one-dimensional, right? So for me, like to get to come back to Karen, like when I left Karen, I was like, okay, I need a break from you, lady. Like, I need some, like I almost had to, I joked with my husband, I was like, I've got to like relearn how to act now, because it was such a, you don't really create a character, she's just like this, it's what makes the show work, right? It's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, and by the way, she can hold her breath for 45 minutes in the water. Like it allows you to just believe anything that comes into these people's lives because you know nothing about them. They're very one-dimensional. But to come back to Karen, I mean, it's like riding a bike.
Okay.
Like even doing the animated series.
Oh, yeah.
Like I even though I'm sitting in a room with Eric and Karine, I still feel like I'm in wardrobe, and I still feel like I'm on the set. Like there's something very organic and natural about it. I think there'll always be Karen in me.
So when the show wrapped up, I know Brenton said that he wanted to kind of go out while it was on top, or like he didn't want it to overstay its welcome, people get tired of it. Was that kind of the general feeling in the cast, or were there like people that wanted to?
I would have gone on. Yeah, I would have gone on. I think a lot of people, most of us would have gone on. I think we did need like a little break. It's really hard. We were shooting in Regina, and obviously as the show's success sort of grew, I don't know if you guys have been to Regina, but it's not a very big city, so it's kind of hard to like blend with the masses. So you're sort of, it's hard. Like when I'm shooting something in Toronto, I go to work, and then I come home and I'm just me, like hanging out on the street, having a glass of wine, chatting with the neighbors. But when you're in Regina, which is a smaller city, and you're staying in this like condo, it's like it's very hard for you to just have a normal life and have friendships and have just like go for dinner, and you're kind of sort of stuck with the cast. Like it's hard to just create your own life. So it's hard. Like it was hard. It was exhausting, and it did get quite lonely at times. But then we got to be on this amazing show. So it's like anything in life. You're like, what's the compromise? And like if someone told me tomorrow, it's like, hey, you're going back to Regina. I'd be like, oh, I gotta figure this out. I've got kids in school. Like, how am I gonna do this? And life gets complicated. So the cartoon is perfect.
I always wondered what it was like, because, correct me if I'm wrong, like the gas station was the set in Rollo?
Rollo, yeah.
Rollo, and then the Ruby interior was in Regina?
Yes. But then when we did the movie, the Ruby interior was in Rollo.
But right beside the other set?
Yes, they're attached.
So in the show, what was it like? Like, would you go and block shoot a bunch of episodes in Rollo and then do a whole bunch in Regina, or per episode did it kind of go back and forth?
So we would shoot 2 episodes at a time, and that would be, I think for the 2 episodes, it would be 7 days, like 7 working days. Because also, you're bringing trucks back and forth from Regina to Rollo. You're bringing trucks, you're bringing trailers, you're bringing equipment, you're bringing all that stuff. So we would do 2 episodes at a time. So you would shoot all of the Regina stuff in the soundstage for both of those episodes. So in a day, you'd be doing a scene from episode 302 and then 307 or something. You'd be doing different episodes, which again, in a show like Corner Gas is not that hard because pretty much your character stays the same. You just kind of got to know what's happening, ish. Maybe not. So yeah, so that they would minimize the back and forth. So you do all the Regina stuff, and then you would go to Rollo. We would still stay downtown, and then we would drive to Rollo, and then the next wheel you would start in Rollo, and then do Regina, so that you weren't going back, you would leave the trucks there. So yeah, it would usually be, I think it would turn out to be like, on average, 4 days in Rollo, 3 in Regina, sometimes 5 and 2.
So you shot 2 episodes in 7 days, is that right?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty quick. You're looking, and that's pretty Canada. Like you're looking at like 9 to 11 pages a day.
That's a lot.
Yeah, especially with an ensemble, because they'll try and like put all of your scenes in one day. So some days, yeah, you're like, it's a lot.
Oh, I was gonna ask, did you have a love-hate relationship with your cop uniform?
Mostly a hate relationship, yeah.
And because you were on the list, or was it the same with your,
Yes, it's my joke that like every single show I'm in, I'm like, oh, I'm wearing a uniform. Again, awesome.
but you have to go to the wardrobe department all the time, which
Yeah, I'm like, I'm really, like, there's just one. Can I swear a pair of, like a skirt? Maybe some heels. I'm only 5'3". I'm like, yeah, the cop uniform, like by season 6, I was just like, oh my God. It's really hot.
is that why
Sorry.
is that why you got less and less? Because like by season 6, you were starting to be kind of more casual, I guess.
No, I'm still mostly in the cop
Oh, you're
uniform.
in the-
Yeah. Oh, I would read this episode. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm in civvies for one scene. I'd be so excited. Because you're in Saskatchewan in the middle of summer in a pair of polyester pants, often a long sleeve shirt, a jacket, a cop belt, a hat, and boots. And like all you would see is my tiny little head. And the joke was when the first season, because they were renting all of the wardrobe, they weren't allowed to alter it. And I used to be tiny, like tinier than this.
The jacket always seemed to be way too big for you.
And so that became, so the first season they could not find a shirt to fit me. Like they just could not find a shirt. So it just, then by season 2, I think they were making their own shirts for me. But I was like, I know it has to be a little big. Like that's the Karen Pelly. Like she just does not, it's like she's a cop that they can't find clothes that fit her. It's like, sorry, this is all we have here.
Yeah, because your hat was too big too as well.
Well, no, the hat wasn't too big, but it would like leave a dent in my head all the time. So then it became this big drama between like me and the director. They'd be like, I really want the hat on for this scene. I'm like, okay, but I'm just gonna let you know, the next scene I'm gonna have it off, and there's gonna be a big dent in my forehead, and everyone's gonna be going like this to my forehead trying to get it off, and I'd be like, oh God, what's happening? Because the French braid would make my head not the right shape. So the French braid would pull here and like make the hat go in there. It's just the weird little things, right? But yeah, that cop uniform.
Probably want to burn it.
I actually still have it. I don't know where it is. Oddly enough, I played a cop in an independent movie this summer, and I was like, I got my own boots. I'll bring my own. I'm good. I was like, these are worn in. They're like I've got my, you can feel, it's like a Birkenstock now. Like you can feel where my toes are in there. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'll bring my own boots, guys. It's good.
So
They were like, thank you. Have boots, we'll travel. What else do you guys want to know?
What are your thoughts on sort of the Canadian filming industry? Because now they just announced that in Markham, they're going to build a new film studio
Is it Markham? I thought it was Mississauga.
at Markham.
Oh my God, and they're also, CBS or something is building one in Mississauga too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, CBS is the one with the Star Trek Discovery, right?
Yeah,
But
but,
they're building a new one somewhere in Markham.
oh, I heard it was Mississauga.
Nope, Markham.
Really? No, it does, because there's a distance that people have to travel, so then they have to start paying people for travel. So that's why I thought it
It
was,
affects the tax credit too, whether you're on one side of the line.
yeah, so I'm like, Markham might be too far, like it might screw up their, I thought it was Mississauga, that's what I heard, but maybe it's Markham. I think it's great. I think it'll be like probably just for US shows, which is great for Toronto, it's great for Ontario, brings money in And that's never a bad thing. It keeps our crews busy. I can't say that it'll do much for the actors because generally American shows bring most of their actors in. They tend to like to sometimes. They'll like.
I mean, you got Vancouver, it's a hub there.
Vancouver's very
Toronto
busy.
is
Toronto's busy. I think I just like the more the merrier. Like the more people filming here, the more money coming in. Keeping crews busy, creating new crews. I think it's all good, all positive.
So I remember watching a few shows, and I'm like, there's a TV bus, wait, it's a
I know.
US city.
Yeah, no, people are kind of sick of people filming in Toronto, I think. I'm sick of people filming in Toronto. I know, but there was, in the summer, I live like down in an area where there's a lot of studios, and they like keep using our street for all the trucks. I'm like, come on, this is bullshit. Get these things out of here. I was like, maybe if I put up a stink, they'll give me some cash. Just walk onto the craft truck, just make a sandwich. Yeah.
On the animated series, as much as they could, would they try and get you in a room together?
We're always in the room together. So we shoot, it'll start at 9 o'clock in Vancouver, 12 o'clock in Toronto. And in Toronto, it's myself, Eric Peterson, and Corinne, who is playing Emma. And in Vancouver, it's Brent, Fred, Gabe, Nancy, and Lauren. I was like, sorry, I got distracted by like some machine things. I was like, and Lauren. So we actually, for the animated series, because I think what makes Corner Gas so special, what makes it work, is that we work off of each other really well. Everybody plays off of each other. So traditionally, an animated series would be done, like you'd be by yourself just doing your own lines, and no one would be working off of you. So what we do is that we'll all tap in together and we read the script from beginning to end. So that way we can play off each other. And I think it really helps with the pacing. I think it also creates moments that wouldn't otherwise have been there. Because you have no idea what that other person is doing. So it's very unique that we shoot it this way. Most people would not do it this way because I don't think it's the best use of time, perhaps. But we have it down to a science. Like we can shoot that episode. I show up at noon. I'm usually out of there by 3:15, and I get to wear sweatpants.
And that includes like the first read-through, and then...
We don't do a first read-through. They give us a script like a couple days before so we can kind of read it over and get an idea of what's going on. And then when we go in, we just all go in. And the only complicated thing, it's not really that complicated, is there's a 2-second delay between Toronto and Vancouver. So that does kind of affect the pacing a bit sometimes, but I would much rather that. And especially for myself and Lauren, like most of my scenes are with Lauren. And our dynamic is very much about the two of us playing off of each other and our humor. And I think that's so crucial, and you can't sacrifice that. I think it's really important.
Did people like bring anything different to the voice instead, or?
Well, it's funny. Apparently my voice is huskier on the animated series, and I don't know if it's because I have a microphone right in front of me and I'm just saying my line, and I'm like all weird with my arms. But some people were like, that's not Tara. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's not. My voice can go very low. But you do have to be bigger. You can't just, I mean, Corner Gas was big enough as it was. Like, our characters were almost animated, which is why I think the animation made sense. But yeah, you definitely have to make it bigger and sillier and goofier, because the show is bigger, sillier, and goofier.
Did anyone feel conflicted about bringing the group back together for the animated show without Janet?
So Janet was actually on board and was really excited about it. We'd known about the animated series for about 2 years. So there was a lot of hoops that they had to go through. Like they had to convince CTV to do an animated series for the first place, because CTV's never created their own animated series. So this was new for them. So we lost Janet very suddenly. I don't want to say it wasn't expected, because she had actually been very ill for the movie, so she was on the scooter in the movie,
Yeah,
and that was because she couldn't walk. She'd had what is it? You can't breathe. She had like an oxygen tank and stuff like that. So essentially, like before they yelled action, like when they were like roll sound, rolling, she would take off her oxygen, put it down, and do the scene. And as soon as they said cut, so she was not well, but we were not expecting to lose her when we did. And that was, I can't remember, but it was shortly after that we were supposed to start the animated. So we kind of paused for a moment and no one really knew what to do. And her husband actually said, Janet would want you to do this. I give you like our blessing, and I know that this meant a lot to Janet, and she wants this character to live on forever. She loved the show, it meant the world to her. And then her husband actually suggested a good friend of hers and said, you know, Corinne would be amazing. I don't know what actors you guys are looking at, but she was a dear friend of Janet's, and Janet had actually been her mentor. And the producers were like, yeah, sure, we'll audition her. And they had all these other people sort of name Canadian actresses that they were looking at. And when they did the tests on everyone, don't you know, like Corinne was the one. She embodied Janet. She wasn't trying to be Janet, but I think because she knew Janet so well, and she herself had like such a husky voice, and it just felt right to cast her. Like there was just something really beautiful and full circle about that. But yeah, it was hard because it's Janet, you know, but we had her blessing, and I think we all know it's something she would have wanted, so I kind of like that she lives on forever and animated.
I noticed that the characters were kind of one-dimensional, but I was just wondering, because I really liked Karen, I was just wondering what about the character did you like, because you played her for so long. You would have to sort of develop a relationship
Oh, yeah.
with the character, right?
I just love that, I mean, the toughest thing about playing Karen was that she was sort of the straight man. And the hardest role I find in a comedy is to be the straight man, because it's actually, you don't get all the glory, but you're like, it's a very hard job to set up people's jokes, but not take away from the joke. So as an actor, I like that challenge, because it's easy, I mean, it's not easy to be funny, but there's a challenge. I find like in a comedy it's more musical, if that makes any sense. Like there's a song and you have to just be making sure that you're singing the same song as your other actors. What I love about Karen, and like I did bring a lot of myself to it, but I just loved her like bluntness, and that a lot of people didn't really understand her bluntness, but she was just so like, yeah, I'm calling it like it is, and people were like, huh? I don't understand. Because that's just also kind of how I am. Like I'm very sarcastic and crass, and I offend a lot of people, not on purpose, because I think I'm funny. Like I think I'm being funny, but they don't see it that way. So that's sort of what I loved about her, is that she just was like to the point, kind of, yeah, and just so different from anyone in that world. And in my head, I was always like, I'm in CSI. That's kind of how I played her. I was like, this is not Corner Gas. I am in CSI right now. I am in Miami. Yeah. This is real stuff.
Did you see the episodes before they aired, or would you just watch them live?
At the beginning, I would never see them before. We hardly ever did ADR for Corner Gas. I think I maybe did it once, which is also kind of amazing. So no, and there's actually many episodes that I've never seen, because I don't know, when I was really young, I used to like to watch myself. As I get older, I'm like, I don't think that's what I look like. No, stop it. Yeah, it was just kind of hard to keep up sometimes. So I have all the seasons. There are definitely episodes I haven't seen, but my kids are starting to like ask questions. My eldest son is 7 now, and starting to kind of figure it out. He's like, well, but you're an actor, right? It's like, are you famous? It's like, no. It's very complicated. It's Canada. Doesn't really work here. So I do think like they watched the first episode of the animated series, which was super cool, because it was the first time I got to sit down with my kids and watch a show that I've done before. because nothing else has ever been appropriate. And I was not ready for how much that would mean to me. Like it was just really cool. It was very special and something I'll never forget. And it was, yeah. But I do think I'll probably end up watching episodes of Clone Gas with them, except they're on DVD, and I don't have a DVD. I'll have to watch on a computer or something. I'm not sure. I don't have a DVD player
They're all on
anymore.
YouTube.
I know. I'm like, how do I watch these things with the kids anymore? You have to download these things.
Did you have an episode you have seen?
My favorite episode has always been, it's funny, there's two actually, Hook, Line, and Sinker from the first season. I love that one so much. I had so much fun. And I wish I'd had more episodes like that where like you sort of saw this other side of Karen and it was like, and like the whole like sexy fish talk and Hank would like be looking at Karen and she'd be like, hey, and then Karen would be looking at Hank and he'd be like, and like the whole Karen slept with Hank. It was just a lot of fun. I really got to sort of play with the character, I think, more than I ever got to with her. And then the other one was, I can't remember what episode it was, but I was chewing gum the whole time and blowing bubbles. What episode was that? I just remember there was a whole day where I had to chew so much gum and blow so many bubbles. And I wasn't really thinking, and they were putting like 2 double bubbles, not double bubble, what is that, Hubba Bubba?
Yeah.
In my mouth at one time to make these big bubbles. And so for 12 hours I was like, hey Tara, blow a bubble. The next morning I woke up, I couldn't open my mouth. I was like, oh my God, I can't talk, I can't open my mouth, I couldn't eat. I was like, I can't, holy crap, oh, how do I do it? My jaw was so sore, it was the weirdest thing. So anyways, you should never chew gum all day, especially not like really like 2 or 3 pieces of Hubba Bubba.
And they probably gave it to you cold too, so you really had to chew at the start.
Didn't even think about that. My favorite thing though about shooting, so bad, especially like after season 6, because they never really got new candy. But there was a lot of real candy in the gas station. Some of it was like fake candy because they only got like approval for like certain candies. But like, there were days where you're shooting in there and I would just like grab a candy and be like. So by season 6, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm still eating. Oh, they're so good though. Oh God. Yeah, they had bottle caps in there and I love bottle caps. It was, and bottle caps are hard to find. Like you can't find bottle caps everywhere. Not every store has bottle caps, but they had bottle caps. And so, yeah, by season 6, they were like, where the hell are all the bottle caps?
The kids took it.
Yeah, mice probably.
Off of the gum chewing, and the one, there is that episode where they find out Karen can hold her breath.
Yes.
You see your face come down. Are there any other particularly funny or weird setups that you know that you had to?
I think that the face in the water one was probably the weirdest because they also had to like create a contraption so that I could actually stick my face in the bucket in the water and find a way to breathe without seeing that there was something. And I'm also just like, I mean, putting my face in the bucket was no problem. But I just thought of another one. But I'm not really a water person, so I was like, and I can't really hold my breath. The other one was the hacky sack one, foot bag. So, I mean, like, I can kind of hacky sack, like, maybe 3 kicks. So we actually had our props guy always hiding. So we always had to set up the hacky sack, like, every time there'd be, like, the police car right beside. And so Roger would be hiding, lying on his back, throwing hacky sacks up in the air so that you couldn't see it, so that you could just see me going like this, and like a hacky sack going up. But there was one scene where I was in the middle of the gas station, and I had to just give her, and I finally just had like one where I got like 5, and I was so excited, I was like, I almost blew the take, because I was like, woo! Yes! But I love that. That was a really funny episode with like Oscar finding like pants on the side of the road, and he's like, just so much. I love Eric Peterson. He is just the best human in the whole wide world. And holy crap, is that man just funny as anything. Like, oh, street, what were they, road pants or like, I can't remember.
Ditch pants or something.
Ditch pants or something. It was the whole thing. Yeah.
I was gonna ask, so how was it like working with Lauren? Because you both born on the same day, you're both left-handed, so it must have been kind of weird working with.
There's something about me and Lauren, we just really hit it off right away. And it was interesting because we were the one sort of pairing that didn't have like a screen test before, because I think he was working somewhere else and they just couldn't do it. So they were like, oh God, I just hope these guys work. Oh, here we go. And originally, if you look at season 1, episode 1, maybe even 2, it was for the first few episodes, it was actually written that Karen was the goofier, sillier, like ditzy, like blah, cop, and Lauren Davis was sort of like the more like, okay, let's do this. And then they just kind of met us and saw us together and saw how we worked, and they just flipped them. They were like, no, this is funnier. So.
I have one extra question.
Yeah.
Did you ever keep anything off set or anything, or like your badge? Or
I have my badge, I have my boots. I actually have the whole cop uniform. I don't know where it went. I have my little Pelly, my magnetic Pelly badge. My badge is in like a little frame, but it's in my kid's room and it's been like knocked over and I think it's like come off. Oh, I have my nameplate, my Pelly nameplate. I had a bunch of bottle caps. Yeah, I have, it's so funny, like over the years, they've also given us like so many like wrap gifts and souvenirs. But I live in Toronto in like a semi-detached house. I'm like, it's just like in a storage room in my basement because I don't really have enough walls or no extra rooms. Like where am I supposed to put my shrine to myself, honey? I mean, I've got a lot of pictures of myself and I just don't know what to do with them. So I do like the things that I took are all kind of small, but I don't know. My kids don't really care. They're like, well, I think one thing's in my drawer. It's like not really out. No one cares about mom.
Wait till they're 20 or 30.
Oh, they'll be embarrassed. They're already embarrassed by me. It's all good. That's what my job is, right? Yeah. Oh.
I've never, well, what you said about the kind of dynamic switching between you and Lauren, I certainly never noticed that. Thinking about it, it doesn't seem like there were any other characters that really kind of evolved. Everyone was kind of...
Well, Karen, if you look at the first few episodes, there's the one with car 1, car 2. Or no, sorry, like car 1, I'm car 1. And like the surveillance bush. And then also Karen with her baton, and she's like, and this is my friend Jennifer. This is my friend Jennifer. Like she was just like, what? And then there was a whole episode in the, I can't believe I remember this, in the cop station with the two-way glass. And she didn't know that people could see her, but she was like looking at herself like yeah. So yeah, if you go back and look in the first few episodes, Karen's definitely way ditzier than she became, and that's just because, yeah. I mean, although the bike, oh, actually, I just thought of another funny setup, the biking one too, where Karen didn't know how to ride a bike.
Oh yeah.
That was a funny one too. Like riding a bike and like falling in a ditch and. It's my only stunt double.
You had a stunt double?
I did have a stunt double. They did not want me falling in the ditch. Yeah.
Seems like there'd be potential for injury there.
Yeah, I mean, I had padding on and stuff like that, but you know, it would have been fine. I'm trying to think. Other fun ones were running with Jane Arden. That was pretty funny. Nobody runs to Jane Arden.
I have one oddly specific question. There's this one long, wide take of you and Davis walking along, and you're talking about like chaos and anarchy, Karen.
Yes, yes.
Were you really doing those lines, or did you just put that in after?
No, we were doing those lines.
Oh, that's so
Oh yeah,
cool.
oh yeah.
It's just such a perfectly timed and composed shot.
Nope, that was all done. Yeah, like I said, there's hardly any ADR on that show. Like, very rarely. So, really good sound guys. And really great actors.
Yeah.
It's all about us.
Speaking of Jen Arden, so did you have any favorite guest actors? Because I know one time Freddie Wong just left for Bob Scar, so we missed Dog the Bounty Hunter when he was on. So
I would say Tragically Hip was awesome.
yeah.
They were pretty incredible. So after they had done their scene, they just started playing music for us. So we were treated to like a private concert by the Tragically Hip. And I'm actually mad because I had them all sign a drumstick and I lost it. Oh.
At home somewhere?
It's gone. I think I lost it in a move. I'm like, do you know how much money that went? Damn it. Yeah, they were incredible and just so generous and so nice. And it's always so interesting because I don't know, it's when you meet people, especially like the Hip, that are so iconic, and you're just like, please be nice, please be nice, please be nice, please be nice. You just never know. And when they're just really nice and beyond, it's such a lovely feeling to just be like, ah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was really special. All right. Oh, hit
One more.
Okay.
So we were talking about you watching the shows that you've done before. Have you ever watched yourself go, why did I do this? Like sort
All
of
the
perfectionist
time.
kind of thing?
All the time, which is why I've kind of stopped watching. I mean, sometimes I do try and watch, like, by myself, without anyone around, because you do kind of want to grow and learn, and, I mean, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing something, there's always room for change, and there's always room for, I hate saying improvement, because I think as an actor, you don't improve. It's not about improving, it's just like changing, or perhaps being like, oh, I didn't, it's funny, I see that moment so differently now, and it's just kind of a weird thing, because as an actor, all you're giving is really your life experience in a weird way. That's all that you can bring to a character is your knowledge of the life that you've led or the life that you've observed other people lead. So you can really just, that's all you're bringing. So I kind of sometimes enjoy looking at my career as almost like a diary of like, I can watch a show and sort of connect to where I was at that time in my life. So I find it easier to watch things from my past because it's like this beautiful memory trove of remembering where I was at that time in my life and what was going on, and oh, I'm so naive, or I can't believe I thought that, or you know, this is how I perceived that scene. Whereas me now, looking back on that scene, I'm like, oh, I see that so differently. I can't believe I made those choices, but those are the choices that I made at that time in my life, with the knowledge that I had in my life in that moment. And I just think there's something really cool about that. It's a really kind of neat, special thing to have.
So just talking about memorable stuff, is there anything that you have, like in shots or on set that really that sticks with you?
Corner gas, other than eating rotten candy? Corner gas especially, it was just really fun. Like, we just had such a blast. We really were a family. There was such a closeness with the crew. I was, how old was I? I think I was in my mid-20s. Sorry, my necklace is all mid-20s when we started that show. So on weekends, we would go partying. You know, there's a lot that happened. Like the first season especially, we just assumed that we wouldn't be coming back. So we were just like, oh, this is fun. It's like summer camp. So we just got sloshed like every single night. On set, I think at that time, like most of us all smoked, and we didn't have proper trailers at that time. They just had like a Winnebago that they dragged around, and they're like, everyone can just hang out in the Winnebago. And we'd smoke in the Winnebago. We'd be playing cards, and we just were enjoying every single second of it because we were like, well, we're not coming back. Like, this doesn't happen. Canadian shows don't go. And every night we'd just be at the bar and drinking wine. And there was a weird, that was the year too that the grasshoppers were really bad. So grasshoppers go in cycles. So that was like year 8 of the grasshoppers, but these grasshoppers were everywhere. Like, they'd be like in your drink and jumping down your shirt. And it was just like, holy crap, there's so many grasshoppers. It was like the summer of the grasshopper, and you drive to, oh, geez, speaking of, oh, that freaked me out. You drive to Rollo, and you'd like look at the front of the truck, and it was just like thousands of dead grasshoppers. It was so gross. So yeah, just weird sort of memories like that. But season 1 was ridiculous. Like, it was just hilarious. Like, it was too much. Too much. Second season, things changed a lot. We were like, we probably shouldn't drink that much. It's probably a good idea. That's also first season is when Brent and Nancy got together too. All right. Does everybody have all the corner gas knowledge they ever wanted in their lifetimes? You've got it all? Cool. Well, thank you. That was really fun. It's nice to chat with fans, so thanks for coming. I know it's like, sorry, yeah, no, I'm in the other room standing stuff. Yeah. Nice one. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tara.
It's my first time. I don't really know how this works.
You did a great job.
Thank you. I was like, okay, so just talk. Okay.